This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. And we are here, just making sure everybody's in the correct boxes. Yes, we are. Sorry about the delay. We had technical issues as always, but our stream wouldn't be the same without some technical issues. Is it part 5 today?
Yes.
Yes, part 5. The Dark Tower part 5.
I lose track.
Yes.
Breaks.
But yeah, I think we're on to part 5, which is the concluding part, I hope of the
filibuster time.
Yeah, unless something
out to 7.
Unless something else goes wrong, because I think Gully hasn't got any magic points left. He hasn't been able to do anything for the last 2 episodes. Since part 1. He used them all up in part 1, and that was it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the plan is just to keep it going for another sort of like 5 or 6, so that Longshanks can get a new ability.
Can I just say to spellcasters and anybody, oh good grief, I thought that budgie cry was so close. I actually ducked out the way.
Yep. I'll go kill him back in a second.
Yes, just to say that if anybody, remember, I'm not taking notice on people's magic pools or anything like that. So if it gets to the point that you are low on magic, then by all means let me know, and we can arrange for an overnight stay at any point. And that I'm quite amenable to that. That's not a problem at all. But just to let you know, I don't look at your character sheets.
I've seen you looking at my character sheet. I've seen it open.
Yeah, the only time I looked at your character sheet was when you said, I think you said that you had no magic points left on a stream or something, and I thought, what, no magic points? And so I had to look then, and I noticed that you had some left, so I was happy about that, because otherwise a sorcerer with no magic points is a bit
we don't need to know that.
Is a bit like an atheist without any divine being to protect
oh god
them. So anyway, welcome. I've just been playing ESO Grey more, and the clerics are getting a lot of stick. They're trying to be very faithful to their goddess, but she's let them down, and I'm a necromancer in that game, and I'm trying to convert them all. So like, just get rid of your goddess, Meridia. She doesn't matter. She's deserted you. Come to the dark side.
To be fair, you're doing a good job of robbing all the houses.
Yeah. I never steal. I just look at bookcases. That's all. I'm sort of like.
I saw you took the food.
Oh yeah. Nobody was eating it. It was just like the Mary Celeste. Hi Garish, how are you doing? Welcome. And Marky Mark as well. Thank you for coming along and joining us. So yeah, part 5 of the Dark
4-5.
Tower. Really exciting stuff. We came to a really interesting cliffhanger of an ending last week. So hopefully this week we'll tie it all up. We can get some experience points done, get some experience rolls, and then tidy up things before next week, the 6th of June. If everybody is available, Loz is free to finish off the Lyoness campaign, which people are really... I've got messages on YouTube actually saying, when will part 3 come out? We are waiting for part 3. Where is part 3?
I'll stop that.
So
let's just drag it out more.
Yes.
Let's create a build for it,
Yeah, so it'd be interesting, because I'm a bit of a loose end at that one, but then I'm quite happy to resort back to that. I'm just the thick person who clouts people, so I don't actually have to I don't actually have to come up with ideas. That's not my role. I leave that to the spell users and jugglers, of course. So next week we'll be hopefully finishing off that and bringing that to a conclusion, even though I think Longshanks' character, you still got a dislocated shoulder?
Yeah. It was shattered, but
It was.
with some lucky rolls we managed to get dislocated instead.
Yeah,
You were donkey jousting.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that...
It's such a dangerous sport, donkey jousting.
I'm not too sure that Loz thought the rolls were going to go that badly on that one.
Oh no!
It was just like, just run. Oh, you're off your horse. Oh, hang on, you got a serious wound. Oh, hang on.
And now you're moving.
I just thought, oh, okay, so that didn't go according to plan.
You gotta love the dice games.
I know, and that's one of the joys of it, because it's quite... the dice can go one way or the other, which is always what makes the game so enjoyable. Okay, enough chit chat. Let's get on, because we started late. Let's get on, and before I give you like a brief synopsis of what's happened, then I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and who they are playing, as always. So without further ado, we'll pass straight over to Chugwugger.
Hi guys, I'm Chugwugger. The character I play is called Gulliver. He is an apprentice mage in the Order of the Kraken, the order which specialises in spells evolving around communication, transportation and teleportation. As the mage, he has the ability, or as a sorcerer, sorry, he has the ability to alter various aspects of his spells. He can change things like the range, the magnitude, the number of targets that the spells will affect, or he can even combine several spells into a single casting. He also has lower level spells. He refers to them as his cantrips. They're based on the folk magic school in Mythras. Nowhere near as powerful as his sorcery spells, but cheaper and quicker to cast normally. He wasn't originally from from the land of Odis. He came across with various others, including Hengist, and he came across to find out more about the art of sorcery. But things have taken a bit of a change from what he thought was going to happen and what has actually happened. So, yes, that's me done. And I shall pass on to Mr. Pickles, I think.
Well, thank you. I am Mr. Pickles, and I play our other spellcaster in this group, Barleby Fumus. He is a theist, following the light moon goddess Amriel. Through her, he's able to perform miracles that are generally protective or healing. He can turn away spirits. He can protect from damage. He can even protect himself, calling on his goddess to perform a miracle to basically prevent all normal weapons from hitting him. Besides his abilities through Amriel, he is also the team's historian, the person to go to who knows many stories about local monsters. And also, he is very interested in raising the impoverished of our hometown Lindo into a better state of being. So he's very streetwise and knows some people down there and is trying to make connections. That's his big goal. I'll pass it on to Longshanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pickles. Hi guys, I'm Longshank CPG, and tonight, as always, I play the character Hengist. He is a warrior from across the sea who's had a bit of a rocky relationship with Odist and Lindo. Arriving, thinking full of himself, I'm a lord, or the son of a lord, actually. And then realised nobody knew about me. And he's had a sort of like a slow journey of becoming sort of like trying to work out how he wants to portray himself in this land. And he's sort of like trying to become more of a noble sort of champion of the people and a famous warrior at the same time. He's joined the noble house of Galot, Lindo, which is one of the three main houses, apart from Count Bastion. Not quite sure where he fits in the three noble houses. That'll be interesting to find out. And House Galot are exactly what Hengist wants to do. They are the champions of the people. They look after the town guard. They support charities and that sort of thing. So he's been engaging with that, as well as helping to look out and adventure with the party. He is, as I said, a warrior by trade. Fights in heavy armor, sword, shield, and more recently, two-handed sword. So that's his main sort of combat style at the moment. And he will put his body and flesh on the line for the people in the party, as he has done on many occasions. And I'll pass it on to Medivac because he's the only one left.
Why, thank you. Hi, I'm Medivac and I play Hashra Khan. He's a member of the Brotherhood who is a secretive sect in this area who keep an eye out on what happens in the biomes, such as how people interact with nature, how nature interacts with people, and they make keep a record of it and how things change over the aeons of this country. He is from Odis. He was formerly a nomad from the steppes. He fell in with this group with Count Bastion's orders to help them on a matter to find what's called a seed, which we did. He favours a short spear. He does, as a backup weapon, he likes to use his scimitar. You'll see him clad out in a grey padded armour, which is quilted and looks, as in Wales likes to say, like a pair of pyjamas, but it's not really. But yes, generally when you see him, all you will see is his eyes. He's very stealthy. He's very acrobatic. He is the group's tracker, scout, go-to forager and cook. And he's pretty damn awesome at throwing weapons into combat, apart from now where everything is hard. But with that, I shall pass into Imwill.
Can I just say that it was really nice that you went round in order today. So it started with me, went to Chugwa, Mr. Pickles is below Chugawugga, Mr. Pickles passed it across to Longshank, so that you went perfectly round in a clockwise fashion. Thank you very much for
lovely.
that. Yeah. You haven't chucked your spear. I keep trying to bait you into actually chucking that spear, but I think you've lost it too many times. But I was just trying to figure out. No, it's not anymore. I think you lost that. Did you lose that to Wyvern?
So something Wyvern.
Yeah, it's flying away somewhere.
There's treasure somewhere.
I do think you're actually better chucking the spear than you are casting spells.
Oh God, yeah.
I haven't seen one spell come off right.
No.
Yeah.
Even with that 5% chance.
I know.
Anyway.
It's just all like, can you do anything?
No.
So
Look
anyway,
at the hands.
Is this a crossover between this campaign and the other campaign?
yeah, because because people will have seen the videos because they're up. Medivac plays. What are they? Are they sorcerers? I don't.
Magicians, yeah.
Magicians,
they're very hard. They're very rare.
Yeah, magicians rather than sorcerers. Yeah. So the party have been on a great journey, and every sort of like now and again, I like to focus in on one character to sort of like allow them to develop their sort of like understanding of the world, to actually progress their backstories, etc., etc. Before this one, Hengist was pride of place. Count Bastion's house is not actually a noble house. He is the king, so he's above the noble house. But he is often worried that maybe if too much power lies in the noble houses, they could actually, lead a mutiny or a rebel and overthrow Count Bastian. So he likes to keep them in as friends, as the saying goes, keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. And this series of adventures was all focused on Gulliver, the magician, the sorcerer of the Blue Order. And the Blue Order are responsible for keeping the portals up to in good working order across the continent of Odes. And the Blue Order summoned Gulliver to undertake a job for them, basically one of his actual his regular jobs, to actually go out and check on a portal. There was some interesting intrigue going on. The party heard a conversation between Gulliver's mentor and a black-robed magician, a sorcerer from the Order of the Lich, the Black Robe, going on actually in Lindo. But they were, the rest of the party were paid to come with Gulliver. They transported via magical portal to the Kraken, which is virtually a floating portal. They killed harpies on the deck. They then took the guided scenic route via rowing boat, as they had a chance to row towards a pier that ended up to be rather infested, rotten. They scaled the side of a cliff face through a rickety ladder that was virtually hanging onto its last legs, and they entered the Dark Tower, and not surprisingly, it was dark. It was dark and it was strangely empty, including a huge amount of wood that had gone missing. Eventually the party found that the reason for the portal not working, a wooden golem actually was deactivated on it. There was a brief battle, and the party then met Azoic, the founder, the owner of the Dark Tower. And at that point, it was revealed to Gulliver that his prior magician, as well, his prior master's teachings, the way of a wizard called Flagnag, that was actually, he actually found a picture of him in the Dark Tower, and it would appear that Flagnag, the person whose magic that Gulliver had learnt and were using, was not actually a blue robe at all, but was a black robed sorcerer. Azoic offered to take Gulliver under his wing and let him become the new apprentice. Part of that was to get a fable soul jar, which allows a mage to hide their soul, their life in it. That means that they cannot be killed unless the jar is broken or they've journeyed too far away from them. The party would then ordered or requested by Azoic to travel to the catacombs to actually locate the soul jar and bring it back, because down below there were a couple of wooden golems going around rampaging. They dealt with them very quickly. They managed to escape down a circular staircase from a whole load of swarming Death Watch beetles, and they made their way through the catacombs, finding various things of mystery, until they came to the current room that they're all in. The room looks like this, and there seems to be a pit or something in the middle that has a whole load of bones in, human bones, quite a lot of them. The party started to reason, could this be the people who actually built the Dark Tower, who were then left down here to rot? What could actually be the point of these bones? But the more interestingly, what they found in these two alcoves up here at the top was that they found two of the fable soul jars. One was in pristine condition and was completely intact. The other one, the party didn't know there was two, and they thought there was only one. The other one was smashed, and which basically means then it's absolutely inoperable. And I think that is the last bit that I said last time, was that one of them was in a good condition, the other one had snapped and been smashed. Just to let you know, you don't have torches on at the moment because the whole area has a greenish glow that is coming from the actual walls. There looks like there's something impregnated into the masonry of some description that is casting this glow around. What it is, nobody has actually figured out. It's not anything to do with fungus or some kind of plant growth. It doesn't seem to have any magical powers or anything like that. It just seems to be all a glow. And yeah, so you can see the two alcoves, and you can see the two soul jars. I'm not too sure whether or not I told you before which one was which, but the one
I think this one was smashed.
Yeah. So
and that one.
So this one here is the one that is true. That one is still actually completely intact. Well, the one on the first alcove is actually smashed to bits. Okay, and yeah, I will shut up, take a sip of coffee, and allow you guys to roleplay.
Then can I ask a quick question about the corridor which we came into, which went from the secret door in chamber where the wood golems were, into where we are now. Would one of those golems be able to actually get down it?
No.
They wouldn't.
No, the entrance, if you remember, came to a finer, sort of like a funnel shape. That would have only let one person through. And if you remember, as you worked through, only one of you could get in a line in any case. Also, please remember that corridor was not like the others. The other floors are very paved, are very ornate, have this gold inlay or something that looks similar to gold. Very well preserved, cleaned and everything. This back corridor seemed to be somewhat forgotten, as if it was definitely put in maybe as an afterthought. Maybe nobody would normally go down here. And if you look at the bottom of the map where I'm pinging now, remember that alcove, one of these sarcophaguses would have fitted in there quite easily. And if it actually fitted in there, there would be no indication that there was actually a door even there.
Okay. Gulliver's going to. He's going to say, "There's two of them. But it looks like one of them's already been smashed."
You think that could be a trick, Gulliver?
I'm beginning to think that Azoic might not be who he claims to be. What does the sight of Amriel tell you about them?
Well, I was working up my energies to perform that ritual again. Don't get me wrong, Gulliver, but isn't he your master now? Do you have questions on who he is?
I think I said various things in there, Bartleby, various things to get us one out of the situation that we were in, and also to find out more about what might be happening within the orders.
I see. Yeah, some more of these sorcerer tricks. Well, let me call upon my goddess to see if I can shed her light on this situation. This is the folk magic that Bartleby would like to pray for, and here is the roll.
Ooh. Oh, so, well, you could probably take minutes, which means it could be an easy roll, so that means that it won't cost you any magic points at that time. Obviously, the soul jar on the the eastern one on to your right is glows very strongly of sorcerer magic, not actually theist magic, not actually religious divine magic, but more of the alternative power of the sorcerers. The one on the left has a very faint residue. It looks like it probably did once hold some magic. There's just some gentle wisps of it around the place, as almost as if it's just trying to leave the area and sort of like dissipate out of this place. You can't decide how long it's been like that or anything like that. There's no sort of like, you can't sort of like roll or anything like that. It just looks like it was once magic. But both of these are not the divine magic of a theist. It's definitely that sorcerer magic.
Is it any particular flavor of sorcerer magic? Does it seem evil or
No, you wouldn't probably know that in any case, because I think Witch Sight is a folk magic spell, isn't it?
Correct.
So if Gulliver took Witch Sight and cast a spell, then he would get virtually, the only idea he would get of divine magic is that it was divine. But if he cast it and he saw sorcerer magic, then he would probably be able to ascertain which of the four orders. You're more likely to be able to initially decide whether or not it's the old gods or the new gods. And then within that, you would know Amriel's magic, but maybe not the others. Or
that makes sense.
You would know your opposing thing. That forgets my name. I forget his name.
Maroth?
Maroth,
yeah.
is it? Yeah, you would know that magic as well. So this is definitely sorcerer magic rather than divine magic on both of them.
If I have time with the how long the Witch Sight lasts, could I cast a glance just to see if there's any residual energies down in the pit?
Yeah, because it'll last for the scene in any case. You sort of like have a look round the whole area. There is a faint hum of sorcerer magic in this place. You notice in the brazier up in the top right, the top left, sorry, the northeastern, there seems to be some residual magic in there. Whether or not it was lit magically, you're not too sure. But there's sort of like all the paving slopes sort of like have that background hum of sorcerer magic. You're not too sure whether or not this whole place might have been created by magic, or whether or not there's been a huge magic explosion that is slowly seeped into the rocks around it. But there's no sort of like specific magic here. You can't say, oh, that bollard or that block is magical. There just seems to be that radiating background magic or sorcerer magic. Again, nothing even close to divine magic in this area.
Make sure to share that with everybody.
Yeah,
and say
cool.
It almost seems like sorcery leaves a sloppier impression on the world than divine energies, which are always so neat and tidy.
The more powerful source of magic, wilder, more intense. That's probably why it looks different when you look at it with your eyes.
I just noticed that these things here have little skeletons on the top. Look, these sarcophaguses. Or sarcophagi. Is it sarcophagi?
I think so.
Or sarcophaguses?
I think it's sarcophagi.
Sarcophagi, yeah.
I'm going to go with sarcophaguses. Just because
Gulliver, though.
Because it sounds
tomato.
Wait till we finish, Mr. Pickles, we're discussing.
Gulliver, I believe your goal is in there. It radiates with something.
If it radiates with magic, it probably means that it already contains somebody's soul.
So that's all we're after then.
Yeah, isn't that why your boss Azoic sent us down here?
But it must be his soul jar.
What would happen if we broke his soul jar?
It would mean that if he was killed, he wouldn't have any place to actually appear at. He would be dead. But he would also know that if he would know if the jar itself was broken.
So why in this other room was the jar broken, and who broke it? Could this be your master's jar that he broke to take over his learning?
I think it might be Forbury's, and that's why he ran.
But why would Forbury want to come back if that is the case?
He didn't want to come back. He wanted.
Yes, he wanted us to deal with the situation so he could come back.
But if that was his soul jar, and if it was smashed, then if he had died on the island, that would have been it. He would have been dead.
Just like one of us.
I don't know whether or not Azoic is actually a member of the Lich.
Why?
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him. We don't even know whether or not he's a sorcerer. Did you see the portraits in the room?
Yeah, but they were all dressed so darkly.
But even then, we could tell which each one of them was, and I didn't recognise Azoic in any of them.
But then, if he's not one of the Lich, then who do you think he is?
I think he's Phoenix.
Phoenix? Explain, Gulliver. I do not know who Phoenix is.
The Red Order. The Blue Order's the Order of the Kraken. The White Order is the Order of the Dragon, and the Black Order is the Order of the Lich. But the Red Order is the Order of the Phoenix.
Ah, thank you, my friend.
The Red and the Lich and the Phoenix are in. Well,
partnership.
Well, to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons that I agreed to actually join Azoic and to find out what exactly was happening. And also because if he was a powerful mage of the Order of the Lich, and if I hadn't agreed and it had come down to combat, I don't think I would have been able to protect you because I didn't have any spells.
Just on a side note, Gulliver, if an Order of the Lich had a part of your person, like a piece of your clothing or maybe your something, would they be able to hold that to bind you in any way?
I don't think so.
Oh, good, because you gave him your Kraken medallion, and he made sure he kept it as he slid it across the floor under his foot.
How observant!
Very.
What's your perception?
Do you really want to know?
I like that.
It's really high, yeah.
Everything I say has a reason.
Yes.
How big are these? How big are these soldiers?
I think they're called. Are they called canopic jars? They're sort of like just
Those where you keep body organs in.
yeah. So they're about sort of like this height, but quite round, and they're all ceramic. They're not metallic or anything, and the top just sort of like sits on. There's no sort of like fancy screw mechanism. It just like sits on the top, and then it's sort of like sealed with wax or whatever. And of course, there's nothing inside them. That's the interesting thing. So once the one that you've seen is smashed open, there's no content there, because at that point the content would have disappeared.
It's your soul.
Exactly.
Okay, Gulliver wants to go into the room that the one that's already is broken in, and he wants to carefully
stick it back together.
start picking up the pieces.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure that he can get them all. He's going to spend minutes looking on the floor, making sure that every bit is that he picks up every bit.
Okay then, so make me a perception roll to see whether or not you manage to pick up. Yeah, so
I got a 36 out of 93.
Could I augment that with mine, see what he's doing?
I mean, you can all see him. I mean, Gulliver is picking. Where are you putting all these pieces, Gulliver?
He's keeping them in his hand, and he's making sure that, you know, he's sort of like, he'll probably start off with the biggest bit and put that in, and then sort of like make sure that he stack them up and have all the little pieces on the top of it.
Okay then, so Gulliver sort of like goes in and starts picking up all the pieces. What's the rest of you wanting to do? Anything, or you can wait till Gulliver's finished picking up. You don't have to do something.
If Hasher sees Gulliver doing that, he will go inside and he will look and say, "Oh, there's a piece over there."
Yeah, cool. Okay then, so what about Bartleby and Hengist?
Bartleby is just gonna watch as patiently as he can.
Okay. And Hengist?
Hengist is he hasn't got anything that he wants to do particularly. He will be standing and waiting, trying not to look at the pit for the bones.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay then, so you minutes passed, 10, 15 minutes. It takes you quite a while to find all the pieces, Gulliver. Some of them might have rolled off the side and gone to the back or in a strange direction, and you'll never know whether or not you've got all the finer bits, because a ceramic pot can just sort of like smash, and some of it could literally be dust as far as you're aware of now. But you think you've picked up all the pieces that you can see, which you're happy that you've got all the bits that you should have. You're probably going to have to hold them in two hands,
okay,
rather than in one.
He'll do that, but once he's gathered them all up, he'll head out, and he'll stand in front of Bartleby and hold them out, and he'll say, "Can you do it, Bartleby? Can you mend it?"
Well, I cannot, but through Amriel, anything is possible. And of course, I would like to use my prayer. If I can take minutes, otherwise I'm happy to...
You put together, you repair, probably fix them together. It's not perfect, it's a bit wonky in places, and it does have some tiny gaps, but you put together, it seems to come in two pieces, like a ceramic jar with a ceramic lid. There's definitely two pieces there, and Amriel's magic sort of like puts them together in that wonderful way that you just sort of like cast the spell and see it slowly piece itself together.
I would assume it still probably has a lot of scars that have a little bit of
huge
a moonlight
amount.
glow, briefly.
Yeah, and you can sort of probably see the moonlight glow coming through the cracks, as it tries to find all the pieces.
I don't think it'll hold a soul, but it might be a nice jar.
Doesn't look very good, does it?
Well, No.
It looked
but,
better than what it was.
Yeah, it looks much better than what it was.
Yeah.
It can serve another purpose. Just you're not going to hold souls in this.
I don't think it's going to serve the purpose that I wanted it to serve, though, Bartleby. It was to be a decoy to call Azoic's bluff, to find out what he was really on about.
Perhaps it might at a distance.
I don't know. I think he was
In a dark room.
Okay,
If he's blindfolded.
Eyes closed.
In a bag.
Well, it just so happens when you take it back.
Is that the best you can do?
well, I can repair it, but I can't beautify it. I'm not some sort of priestess for the love goddess. Can't make things beautiful.
It's functional.
Yeah, and function is what Amriel preaches.
Of course, a sorcerer might be able to fix it together better.
I'm no sorcerer.
Well, it's not going to fool him. It wouldn't even fool Hengist's eyesight, never mind him.
Good glance do a sideways glance at Hengist to see.
Hengist hasn't heard that.
Hengist's perception is getting better and better. He made
It
a
is,
lot
it
of
is.
rolls
Forty.
last time. Yeah.
He almost heard that comment as well.
Yeah.
He did almost hear that comment.
It's nice to have characters with negatives, with flaws. They're always more fun to play.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Gulliver, that my goddess can't help in this case.
I always imagine, well, sorry that it can't help in this case. Click. And it just goes boom. And it falls back to it.
Gulliver will pick it up and he'll walk down to this wall here, and he'll turn around and he'll say, "How does it look from here?"
You'll hear Hazra from the room shout, "I found the piece."
I presume from a distance it still looks pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... I mean, compared to the other one, it doesn't look in... And there's other things missing from it. For example, the other one has that wax seal round it. The other one that you look at it seems to have sigils or runes on it. This one has none of that. You know, the other one, especially in your witch sight, almost like pulses with that energy. This one doesn't. And you might even assume that a sorcerer, and Gulliver, you would know this in any case, you know, if somebody picked up your soul jar, you would know. You know, straight away, because it's got your soul in it. You know, and so you would definitely know yours. You know, even if it was put in a huge amount of others, you would still know yours, because it's almost like magically connected to you. You know, it literally has your soul in it.
Would this be explained out loud?
That's up to Gulliver.
I mean, Gulliver was just trying to see whether or not anybody could tell whether or not we could actually pass it off as a decoy, which is obviously we can't. So he's just gonna put it down.
Because my theory was, if we took them both and then pulled out the fake, because you're still carrying the original on you.
I did bring candles if we wanted to make a seal of some sort.
Gulliver's going to go in and he's going to have a closer look at the other one. Do you say it's got runes on? Can I recognize any of them?
I think you're muted, Inwolves.
I was just typing in chat. make a runology roll.
Can I take minutes, please?
Yeah, if you wish.
And I'll reverse those to make it a 38 out of 42.
Yeah, you can see there seems to be a variety of runes on them, some of them which you don't know at all, but you do recognize 2 runes very clearly. One you see is quite easily death, and there's the opposing one of the rune of life on there as well. They're not big, these runes, they're quite small, and there seems to be various sort of like signs and sigils and runes around it all. That's just, you were just looking at it, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. I was just seeing whether or not there was what I could recognise on it. But after that, he's going to pick it up.
Yeah. So once you touch it, you sort of like feel almost as if somebody goes, and almost like that intake of breath, and there's a sudden sort of like vibration in it, some kind of pulse. Nobody else feels it in the room, but you almost like feel it through your hands, as if it's sort of like releasing something and sort of like almost like emanating some kind of signal. It's only there for a fraction of a second, and it's not vibrating anymore. It does feel so powerful, though, Gulliver. You know, in your hands, this just seems to be incredibly... You can almost like feel the power within it.
Do I know whether or not there's any correlation between how long this pulse lasts to how close the recipient of the soul is?
I don't think you know. You don't know the spell, do you? No. So you have no idea at all. It wasn't anything that you were even expecting, to be honest with you, because you know generally you've heard what these jars are for, but like they're so rare, it's unbelievable. Because otherwise, if they weren't rare, every single sorcerer would have one, which would basically mean sorcerers were indestructible for their first time, or they're all in like what's the bank called in Harry Potter? Gringotts. So, you know, they'll all be in deep chambers somewhere, and if you blow that up, all the sorcerers around the place suddenly fall down dead or something. There's an idea. Let me just make a note of You know, so as far as you're aware, Gulliver, I mean, there's nobody you know in the Blue Order that even has a soul jar. These are the first. I mean, this is literally the first one that you've actually seen and touched.
He's gingerly going to...
Sorry.
He's gingerly going to carry it out, and he's going to say, So whose is it?
Whose jar is it?
Whose jar is it?
I just know that I don't know much about it. I assumed that this would be part of your training if Azoic was certainly being honest about it.
Who do you think is Azoic's?
Well, it did seem that way, unless he is.
But why would he not just come and get it himself?
Perhaps.
Why would he want it moving anyway?
Well, he did say it was go to collect his soul jar, didn't he?
Perhaps he doesn't want to have to fight his wood golems if they've gone crazy.
Mm. But then again, in the same breath, he would not have to worry about dying because he has his soul jar. But I don't know how these things work. Does he be reborn again, or does he just not die? And walking around with half a body does not really work very well.
If he died, he would he would regain his body next to the soul jar.
Correct.
And then he would have to rest for several months to recover before he was able to redo anything, unless he plans to leave the.
And that just to sort of like give you, if he did die on the way to here, like Gulliver said, he would have to stay there for several months. But just to let you know, you've seen no food reserves or water in here. You know, so if he did die on the way down, yes, his body would end up here, but then he's got to somehow survive a month, which would be a long time.
It might explain other bones.
Don't know. Well, we're not going to find out anything here, are we?
Well, the next question, Gulliver, is what do you want to do?
What do you mean? What do I want to do?
Well, this is beyond our ken. I'm speaking. I'm hoping speaking honestly for everybody that I do not know anything about these things. What do we do? Do we return the soul jar to Azoic and hope that he is merciful in his power, or he could just simply just kill us all once he has it, or maybe we are trapped here like these poor souls in the pit behind us. I don't know. If he's such an all-powerful wizard or a sorcerer, why has he not dispersed these creatures that are wandering around his realm?
I think we're just going to have to trust him.
Really? Do you get the trust feeling from him? He had changed so much when you were speaking to him. He was a frail old man, and then at the end he was telling us what to do. It just seemed to, I don't know, it just seems strange to me. He was weak, he was frail, and then as you succumbed to what he wanted, he seemed to gain power from what you were saying to him.
Maybe he wanted a powerful sorcerer on his side, somebody like me. Gulliver,
I have known you a little time, to be fair. I mean, we have a couple of years, but you are a wonderful sorcerer, a most amazing sorcerer. You have done things that I could not even fathom, things that scare me. But there are sorcerers out there that, and forgive me for saying this, my friend, and I mean no disrespect, but there are people out there that could do more powerful things than you can, and you know this. You cannot take us from.
But you cannot know that. Who have you seen who can do more powerful spells than me?
Those people that sent us from one continent to another.
Those are the portals. I could have learned that spell if I wanted to.
Well, why didn't you? I'm not being horrible, Gulliver. I'm trying to be.
You've never liked my magic.
No, it scares me, Gulliver. You know I don't like your magic. It fears me. It's unnatural, the things that you do. But pray, please, I'm not. I'd like you, Gulliver, but there are people more powerful than you out there. Otherwise, you would be the head of your order, would you not? Think of it logically.
But I don't understand what you're getting at, Hasna.
I think he's trying to manipulate you for his own gains. I have seen this happen in my tribe. It's something that you praise, you say, oh, you are the best, you are brilliant. Now go kill the bear because you're the best warrior here. Oh no, he died. I'm sorry, but it's
I like it.
It's true, and I fear for you, Gulliver, because the more he puts a praise on you, the more you bend to his will. That's something. Gulliver, you are my friend, and I need to say this because it is true. I never speak a word of lie.
Well, I said what I said to protect you and Bartleby, because if he is an old powerful sorcerer, your bit of stick with the metal on the end of it isn't going to protect you.
No, it's not. Which is why we need you to be.
Kill you just like that, and I can't protect you at the moment because I don't have the energy to do it. So we don't have any choice in the matter.
There's always a choice, Gulliver, and the choice is to either die doing the right thing, or to succumb to another person's will. And I don't want to die. And I'm sure everybody else doesn't want to die, and you don't want to die, Gulliver. We need to think a way around this to stop this person who is using you, and I say that with the greatest sincerity, to maybe...
How do you know it's not me who's using him?
To be honest, Gulliver, I don't. But if you do it again, I will say these words again. If it is you using him, it is beyond my ken. Because I have... I will bow to your superior. You are more intelligent than I am. I am just a simple hunter of animals who I fight, I look, I do things like that, but you are more wiser than I am. Just as Mr. Bartleby over here is far more wiser than I am. I ever dreamed to be. But so there, I will bow to, if you are, I pray it is so. I pray to, and I would dare say to Amriel that it is so.
Perhaps we could look through more of these rooms before we take up the soul jar to Azoic. You mentioned the paintings earlier, Gulliver. Maybe there's something down here that might suggest that Azoic is who he claims to be.
I think we've looked into most of them, haven't we?
I don't know. It seemed kind of sprawling.
About the
there's nothing in the crates. We've looked in the crates. There's nothing.
There's a doorway down there, I think.
Yes, there is.
And over there, I think that.
No, that's just a, no, it's not. No, just that one there. 91 perception. There we go.
You do know because this room you've been in, haven't you?
Bartleby hasn't, but he saw somebody going there.
So people would know that there was
a... And there's also one there, which I'm thinking will come from there. Obviously, I won't know that because I'm not there.
Well, let's just look then.
Yeah, to just see if there's anything that might give more credibility to Azoic.
Gulliver's going to he's going to place the soul jar just on the floor in the corner around here.
My biggest worry is there's a room full of bones, there's a broken soul jar of a magician, and there's his soul jar, which is whole. So either this is out of character, by the way. Yeah, either a big battle's happened here. Yeah.
Gulliver wants to walk over here and have a look. Is there any light in this bit?
Yeah, it's there's a very similar corridor to the one that you actually came down before. I can reveal it for you. There you go.
It does match.
Yeah. Who came into this room beforehand?
I came into this room.
Yeah. So you're quite aware of your surroundings, even inside. You got that natural sense of direction, and you would know that it leads back into the room. The only thing that I will say about the entrance there where Gulliver is, it doesn't look like there was ever anything in front of it at all. Gulliver, as you look down the corridor, you can see that here there appears to be some kind of material hanging over the exit. It's either some kind of curtain or some kind of tapestry on the opposite side that is sort of like covering the exit. So it doesn't go naturally straight into that room, but it does sort of like lead to it. This entrance here, as you can all see, is not hidden at all. It's it's not guarded. There's nothing that was covering it. It's quite obvious. But the same could be said about this entrance and this entrance, and even these into the storage chambers that you saw before.
I'm assuming these stairs go down rather.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. If you remember, you came up your stairs right down at the beginning. Yeah.
Down there. Yeah.
So just out of interest, just to bring it back to something else, from that point round to this point, the beetles would not have been able to access this area because it's raised.
So why didn't Azoic not come and get it himself?
Certainly seems like it'd be a clear path from the staircase. You wouldn't have had to interact with the golems at all.
The only thing he would have had to worry about was the beetles.
And he seemed quite spry after he gave up being bold.
Just to remind you, if you remember down in this room when there was the two remnants of the wooden golems, there was a whole load of wood scattered around this place. There's no explanation for it in the room. It doesn't look like there was umpteen tables or anything like that. Just to remind you also, you haven't seen any beetles down here. The last beetles that you saw were up at the top, and you came down, and I think somebody opened the door into...
Yeah, we closed the door behind us.
Yeah, and somebody opened the door. Yeah.
Shall we go down and check out the other door?
I think we should.
It makes sense too.
Just doesn't make sense.
Makes perfect sense to me, can I just say?
Can I ask a question about the previous session?
Yeah.
Did we have the same result from destroying the wood golem as the one that was up? Did sort of like beetles come out of it and go everywhere?
No.
The one that we destroyed up on the sorcery circle looked like it had been infected with this rot. And when Angus killed it, sort of like a beetle sort of like scuttled from it.
Okay, so all of you make an insight roll for me. Everyone make it. Depend, because even one of you might have seen. Oh, look at Longshank's EPG there with the 80.
No, Mister, I wrote it as
Longshanks. I wrote it as Longshanks, not
point of luck to reverse.
Doesn't count as a Hengist.
12, 80, 20. Okay then. So everybody apart. Hazra, are you using luck on this?
No.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Okay, then. So the rest of you probably shared these thoughts. You didn't actually look for anything coming out of the golems, but you do remember that there was less beetles, more larvae in there, as if something had been infested in it, and sort of like were incubating in it. The important difference that some of you come up with, probably the spell users, was that the one upstairs had something that was neutralized over the top of it. There was almost like a protective dome over the top of it. And if you remember, Gulliver, you actually neutralized magic on it and you released that dome first.
And that was sorcery magic then?
It certainly was.
Or does my magic...
No, it was definitely sorcerer magic. And these down here did not have that at all. Did not have it one little bit.
That's right, because you use sorcery to take off the shield, and then you use sorcery to break it down.
Correct.
Using the same spell.
These had no shield over them, and I don't think, Gulliver, you tried to do magic on them to dissipate them. But,
no, I just killed it.
Yeah, that is the important one of the, all sat here thinking about it. The first one, the one upstairs, had almost like a protective dome over it.
Does Gulliver know of any spell that would allow something like that to hold a golem?
It's probably something to do with artificing or something to do with the creation of the golems, perhaps. Gulliver probably has the same information as you have as a player. So if you know something that actually does that, then that's fine. You can use that knowledge. If not, it's unknown to you. But that was the major difference. These seem to have larvae in them rather than beetles.
Okay.
It was more that they were almost like incubating in them, if that makes sense, rather than scurrying out of them. But you definitely saw beetles coming out the top one.
Where did you want to go now?
I think we should check out the room that was in the doorway that was in the room that goes through his passageway. I never like to leave things behind, Gulliver. You should know this by now.
We do not let our people behind.
I think Gulliver's going to go down this corridor, and he'll pull the curtain to one side at the end and sort of like gingerly look round the down.
That's two.
Into the room to make sure that nothing's taken up residence in there since we last looked up. And if it's clear, he'll go over to this one around here.
Okay then.
At which point, Azra will say, Gulliver, do you think Hengi should go first?
So just to have just to play that bit out, as you'll probably all come into the room as that happens. The first thing to recognise is that what Gulliver pulled back was more of a push, because it was a heavy tapestry. Oh, look, Hengis is all by himself in the corridor. All his friends have run away and left him. It's like a huge tapestry that is actually like a wall hanging. It actually goes from slightly above the doorway right the way down to the bottom. It covers the doorway quite nicely. The doorway is actually thinner to one side of it. It doesn't seem to be tacked or anything like that, but you do notice, Gulliver, that when you push it back, the base of it seems a little bit heavier, and careful inspection notices that it's actually weighted down at the bottom to encourage it to hang straight.
Are there any other tapestries in the room?
No, there's only this one over that. There is one sort of like opposite it, but not covering your doorway at the moment.
Right.
You sort of like stride across the room. The room looks the same as when you last saw it. But you sort of like turn the corner, Gulliver, and you look into the next room, which looks like
Run away!
this.
Oh.
So this seems to be it's almost like very similar to the other one, but slightly different. This one, the pile of bones are more in the center. It's almost as if they've been almost like piled up in a huge pile, but then sort of like collapsed, if that makes sense. So, and sort of like spread out a bit more. They're definitely all in the pit. They're not anywhere else at all. And the interesting thing is there seems to be little alcoves around everywhere. You're not too sure. They look very similar to other alcoves that have sarcophagi in. Okay, but there's nothing actually in them. But there is something on the back wall. You can see, on some of them, you can see it here. Sorry, not on my pingy. Can you see it here and here and here? And it seems to be some kind of relief, some kind of stone face. They seem to be more, I don't know what the adjective for being like a gargoyle is.
Gargoyle-ish.
I want to say gargoylistic, but that's probably another right.
Gargoylistic, that's an awesome word.
So they don't look like people. They look more like gargoyle faces. So some of them are sort of like wide letterbox mouths with tongues sticking out, or big bulbous eyes. And it's just their heads. There's nothing else of the gargoyle in these gaps at all. You do notice that there's 4 pillars, and that lead up to almost like an arched, a vaulted ceiling. And that is obviously keeping the floor above up. And you do notice in the top left and the top right, there are braziers that are sat on the floor that would have provided some light in here, or brighter light. The floor itself, as it can see, is gold inlaid. It looks very nice, very ornate. You do notice that there is, I don't know whether or not I revealed this bit, sorry. There is actually a bit here that actually mirrors the top. And you can see that there is a gap leading out here.
The in both this room and the other room that we've been in, the where the bones have been, has there been any scraps of cloth, any weapons in it?
No.
It's only been it's only bones.
Literally just bones. There seem to be no armor, nothing metallic at all in any of the places. No scraps of cloth or anything like that. Just pure bones. It's almost as if there was never any scorching of the bones, nothing blackened of them. It's almost as if somebody maybe has been... Gulliver, roll an insight roll. Anybody who's got insight above 50?
Nope.
Bartleby, do you have insight above 50?
I don't think so. It's a 40.
No. Okay, then. Gulliver's is what?
I'm going to use a point of luck to reverse those.
Okay, then. That won't give you a crit, won't it? No.
It will, won't it?
What? It's a crit is what? 20%, is it?
It's 8. It'll give me 8.
Yeah. Okay, then. So it suddenly dawns at you that, especially from this room, it's almost like looks as if somebody was trying to create something with the bones. and it was unsuccessful. It looked like they were trying to pile them up, almost like to build something, like trying to build a pyre or some kind of, mound, or maybe even something like the golems that you've seen. But then hasn't worked. And this theory would relate to the other room as well. Thus that if you're looking back on it now and seeing this area and going back, and you suddenly realize that maybe those bones in this room were actually put in certain piles, i.e. there's quite a distinct pile here, there's a distinct pile here, there's one here, there's one over here, and this could be the same thing as these but spread out more. Maybe smaller than this one, but that's what your insight tells you, Gulliver.
Okay. He'll let the others know about it, but he also wants to say to Bartleby, he wants to say, but Bartleby, is there any deities that have the symbol of a skull and use human sacrifice?
I'm a lot more familiar with the good churches and religions that study knowledge and helping
you
people.
You can make if you've got a religion knowledge, you could roll that, or if you've got a devotion, if not, it can default onto your devotion.
Yeah, devotion's going to be what I have to use here. Right here.
Yeah, most religious sects bury their dead. As far as you know, this almost like leads to necromancy, rather than even religious people, warrior races or warrior gods wouldn't they would still bury their dead rather than actually sacrificing. Maybe some of the more primitive or nomadic tribes may actually just sort of like bury their dead and eat their bones or whatever. You never know. Hazard, just to bring you up to speed.
It's a long pig.
Just to say, Gulliver has just figured out that the piles of bones could have been something that was tried to be made into something, but then it failed and collapsed down. So maybe even a golem.
Bone golem.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's still this issue about where the bones
have come from. Yeah. Well, I'll wait to my character.
Okay. Gulliver wants to make his way round this way to this doorway here, or the entrance there.
Azure will be right behind him.
Do you mean sort of like round the north way, so you don't go into the pit? Or do you want to cross over and go into the pit?
No.
Hazard probably won't go into the pit.
No, it's no way across this bit here. Is this bit down here?
No, so
then I'll go right way.
Yeah,
round.
so this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go right there.
Okay.
This is a very big place for one person to live in, isn't it? What happened to the acolyte?
Henga suddenly looks up from something he was looking at, and everybody's just like...
Hengis is on Instagram.
Yeah. So, can you send a message to him?
This room...
Dungeon exploring. Selfieing in the crypts.
Me in dungeon.
This again is a massive sort of like vaulted room. It's really noble like, and there seem to be sarcophaguses in the pit, and then these others on the side as well. The one thing that you notice very clearly from this one compared to this one here, sorry, not on my pingy, this one and this one, and even this one down here is the finery. In some of the rooms they seem to be crammed in there. This one is more spaced out.
Is there any inscriptions on any of these that we've seen?
Not that you can go and have a look.
Yeah,
if you wish.
so I'll go in and I'll have a look at this one closest to.
So these, what's the other three of you doing? Just while Gulliver goes in and starts to explore.
Nothing.
Hengist will go in as well, and sort of like have a look around, see if there's anything that he can see that is a bit odd or suspicious that he wouldn't have thought would be in a crypt.
Yep.
Hashra will be again. He will be behind Gulliver.
Okay.
He'll be watching everything he does, but also, in the same breath, he'll be trying to keep an eye out as it was a peripheral vision around him.
Okay.
Hengist is just remembering the last time that we all went into a crypt, and when he saved Gulliver's life from that weird crypt thing that stuck its hand out the
Oh yes.
on it. So that's the sort of thing he's looking at.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that's going to be sort of like reminiscent of that.
Yeah, and Bartleby, what are you wishing to do?
Bartleby is very curious about these piles of bones, so he's going to at least initially go here so he can look through the doorway and see other people. He wants to look down that pit of bones. Perhaps I could use healing skill to look at the quality of bones, if there's any damages, or maybe lure monsters, or just to glance at them, see if there's anything interesting.
Okay, well, roll your healing skill for me. Gulliver, these 4 on the back are not as well made, not as big, not as fantastic as the ones down in the actual delve, in the lower section. There's something quite strange about them. The ones in the lower down area seems a lot more almost like noble. They look like they're a higher status than these, and don't look like the two. If it was normal everyday life, it would be like nobles in there and the wayward people out here. There's not a comparison. They seem to have no labels or inscriptions or anything on them at all, but the actual difference is quite marked, especially in here. Hengist, you don't notice or see anything that might pose a threat or a danger in here. It just seems to be so eerily silent, very silent.
Okay.
Hang on, Bartleby, you looked at the bones, and they have no damage to them. I mean, some of them are broken, but you don't think it's the sort of break that would happen while it's in a body. It's been broken after that. The skulls, they seem to be in good condition. From where you're looking at, it doesn't look like any of them has been battered or broken or in a war or anything like that. I've just noticed the time, so it's just gone past. So that seems to be a good time to leave it for the break. And then we can come back to this session, and hopefully we can finish it off tonight. So, yeah, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. I'm going to go and fill up my coffee, etc., etc. So do go away and stretch your legs. And we will be back in 10 minutes. So about what was that? Be about quarter to the hour we'll be back. Okay, till then, look after yourself and do come back. Go and grab yourself a drink, and we'll see you soon.
This video is
wrong button.
Do you have motion sickness tablets? Or doesn't that work?
Tried them. They don't work for me.
I've never tried them because the thing is, my motion sickness tablets make me drowsy, and I'll just end up. But I think it's interesting because some games. So I played Destiny 2, and which is first person, isn't it?
Yep.
And makes me really ill. Play Overwatch, which is first person, don't feel ill at all.
Have you tried altering the
head bobbing? I've changed.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I thought it was just first
motion
person.
blur?
Well, and I'm not too sure why it happens at all, but I know the first time, and I know when it starts to happen because it was interesting. I was playing Black Desert Online, and I was zoomed right the way into the character. I was still third person, but I could feel myself getting ill, so I zoomed right the way out, and that solved it. Once I was zoomed really far back, I think there's less movement. And somebody in this stream, there's a guy called Shield Meta, who is actually came into my stream, who is actually the highest level person in all the European server. So over his name, he actually has a little wreath that says 1. And I said to him, what's that? He says, it's because I'm the number 1, the top level player.
It's because I have no life.
And it's just sort of like, well, it's interesting he said that because he said, I said, that must have taken a real amount of time. And he says, I have a very understanding girlfriend, he says.
Imagine me that guy from the South Park World of Warcraft thing was flicking chips off himself.
Yeah. But I think he said he was ex-military as well. So, but
Did you hear about the guy? Sorry, just to interrupt.
Is this a joke?
No.
All right.
Did you hear about the guy who did the South Park quest, in a sense, in World of Warcraft, where he got to the maximum level just by killing boars?
Really?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Did it something like 8 years or something like that?
No, 2 weeks apparently.
I just
10,000 plus boars.
Yeah, I always think there's going to be a catch line at the end whenever you do. So,
no, sorry,
and we all go, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and then then he'll say something like, he said it was really boring, or something like that.
Reminds me of when we first started to play Meridian 59 Medivac.
Oh my god, yes.
Where we were at, we were at Marion, and we were collecting elderberries. Yeah. We didn't know how to get anywhere else, so everybody had to come to us.
That's right.
Okay, so welcome back, everybody. Finishing gathering berries. Welcome back, Darth says. Yeah, so Bartleby's just had a closer inspection of these bones, and Hengist has had a good check around. There doesn't seem to be anything lurking
There's no
anywhere.
crypt ghouls that are going to pop out and go nom 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 with his arm like they did last time.
And Hazara and Gulliver have noticed that there's a distinct difference between these sarcophaguses up on next to them and the 4 down. Just out of interest, you do notice that I know you probably think it's stating the obvious, but there are 4 in the shallow area and there are 4 up here. Yes, what would you like to do? Over to you.
Okay, Gulliver's going to go across, heading towards Hazara. As he heads over there, he's going to have a quick glance to the right.
Sorry, just to make the pot that you put back together?
Yeah.
Where is that now?
There.
If that's just there, but you've got.
No, the other one's here.
You've left the other one in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Okay, so Gulliver glancing to his right, seeing that Bartleby is busy looking at the bones. He's going to go over to Hengist, and in a whisper, he's going to say, "Hengist,
Yes, Gulliver.
open it."
Open what?
The thing that you stood in front of. take the lid off.
Just to let you know, I think Hazard will probably follow you, Gulliver, because he has actually said right from the beginning
I
that,
shall put him in my pocket.
Yeah, and sort of like almost like in a protective manner. So yeah, so Hazra will be over. Yeah, so Hengist Gulliver tells you to.
So Hengist will have a look at this sarcophagus. Is the body on the top like it is in the picture, or is it
it's
actual
not,
sarcophagus?
No, it's actually
Carved.
Carved
inlaid.
Okay.
Sorry, at this you probably come back into the room now, Bartleby, as well, because you've been looking out there.
Just before we take
go
to a grave, he just happens to pop round the corner.
I was intending to return to the party because
I think it's
don't want
fine.
to get caught alone.
And don't forget the Legion of Legionnaires.
Gulliver, get down one side of it.
What? So like crouch down, or
no, so that he can maybe grab the edge of the lid.
So
on his side.
So Hengist will be doing the opposite. So he'll be standing on the opposite side.
Okay.
And he'll give a nod to Gulliver, and then we will lift.
Okay, then
try and slide the thing
yeah.
slightly.
So Gulliver and Hengist both make brawn rolls. This will be at hard.
What?
Once Hazard sees him doing this, he will be there with his spear, ready to. Just wait.
Jimmy it open.
I'm here. No, ready to.
Jimmy it
See what the
open.
hell comes out. He sees some weird stuff. He wants to be like, oh my god.
I think the actual so the thing will be coming towards you there, Hazard, because they're sliding it off. So you probably that's probably a better place to be. Hengist, you sort of like shift your end quite nicely, and Gulliver, you try to shift your end, but it doesn't move at all. But one thing that you notice, Hengist, that it almost like pivots from Gulliver's bit, and your bit, you sort of like pull yours to one side. It's like a like
Gulliver's,
that.
as it's moving, he's going to be peering to see whether or not he can see what's inside it.
And Hengist, you'll see what's inside it first, because it's right at your entrance, where you sort of like move the bit of sarcophagus, and you'll see straight into it. The first thing that you notice, Hengist, Gulliver, you don't notice this because you haven't actually moved your bit. Hengist, you do notice that there was nothing stopping it.
Okay.
It wasn't as if you had to break a seal or anything like that. The only reason it was a hard roll is because it was heavy. For no other reason
it's
at all.
It's a slab of marble or stone or whatever it is.
Darth says that your cat is hilarious, Mr. Pickles.
I know, we can just see the back of its head.
And you sort of like pull it to one side. It pivots at Gulliver's, and Bartleby, Hazra is there leveling his spear, and it sort of like slides out towards the open room. You can see quite clearly, even though there's this greenish glow, you can see quite clearly into the sarcophagus, and there's one thing that becomes very apparent instantly, is that it's empty. There's nothing in there at all.
Gulliver, seeing, eventually being able to sort of like peer over and seeing it, will say, I thought so. Well, I think if we probably counted the number of dead people boxes and the number of bones that there was, I think we'll probably find that the two equal each other.
Really? Even these
people from the dead people boxes.
So what about these ones down here? These important ones?
What do you mean? What about them?
Will they be empty too?
I would have thought they're all going to be empty. They've tried to get as many bones together as they can to form some type of ritual magic. And when they haven't been able to make it from the bones, they've then decided that to use the wood.
But forgive me, Gulliver, but what does wood have that bones do not?
What does it matter?
Well, if they are taking the bones, maybe it's for like the soul or the essence of the person who was previously there.
I don't know anything about that type of things. I just thought they would be creating it from it.
When we bury a person, you bury them in the ground, and you put their essences with them as when you bury them, and so you do not disturb the grave because that is their resting place. But to move the bones of the deceased, it's I cannot fathom it. It's sacrilege. It's wrong.
Bartleby, you can lay people to rest, remember. So if you want to start trying to put the bones back together,
might be here a while.
A big
14
puzzle there.
days later, need to sleep.
I wonder perhaps if making these magical bound things of parts as magical servants or something, maybe that's just part of this order, and maybe Orbier, the rogue sorcerer who wanted us here, maybe that's why he was exiled, making golems out of the dead.
Attempting to.
Doesn't tell us anything though, apart from why all the bodies were there.
Should we not check a couple of other of the sarcophaguses just in case? It might just
I'm
be
going to
just the one.
convince you all now that it's sarcophagus.
It's better.
Did you want to check the others?
You, Angus, if you want to check the rest of them,
Well, not the rest
you'll
of them.
find out
Just
they're
at
all
least-
going to be empty though.
But let's check the bottom. At least one of these larger ones at the bottom here. And Gulliver, myself and Angus will try.
So Angus is going to try at least one more of the sarcophagi.
Hazra will go to the opposite side, and he will try himself.
Okay. You'll probably prop your spear up in some way.
Against the pillar behind him.
Yeah. So yeah, you both need to make brawn rolls with hard as the.
You know that Gulliver actually did it that way because he knew he wouldn't be able to move it and it would just pivot and it wouldn't fall over, don't you?
Yeah. So Hazra and Hengist,
You wash off my toes.
you managed to slide one of these off, and the Hengist, you notice that it's very similar to the one that you did before. There seems to be no seal on it, and you do remove it, and it seems to be fabric lined. Inside there seems to be various ornaments in this one, like rings and necklaces and bracelets and things like that, but the most telling thing is that there's literally no bones in here at all.
Can I cast find magic on the items? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, identify.
Identify, that's the word. Yeah.
Hengist will say to Gulliver, call over to Gulliver. You're right. There's no bones in here, but they have left the grave trinkets behind. So it seems that they were definitely after the bodies rather than any other jewellery or trinkets that could have been of value.
I normally am right.
But why put the lids back on again? Why take out the bones and then put the lids back on the sarcophagi again?
I don't know, but I think we should probably put the lid back, Hazra.
Okay, let's do this. Hengist, do you need a hand?
Hengist will take minutes over this one. He's listened it 3 times.
Hengist pulled a muscle in the last one.
Oh, my back!
Yeah, you could put the both the lids back on. That's not a problem.
So yeah, and then after putting the lids back on, he'll go back over to Bartleby and Gulliver.
So I guess this doesn't really help our original reasoning for looking further. There's clearly something weird going on, but it could be either Azoic or Fourier.
I think whoever would have. Hengist.
Gulliver.
Oh.
When my mom, because there's 5 of us, when my mom tries to say our name, she normally goes through every single one, and it's always the last one that she gets to.
Yep.
No matter who she's calling, it's always the last one that she gets to.
I just get called after my aunt and uncle's names.
Oh, right. Oh, no, my mom knows who I am.
This is my mum. My mum calls me every name in the family before she gets to mine sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when she's angry at me.
You've seen Forbury and Azoic?
Yes, Gulliver.
What's your impression of them? Strength wise? I don't mean do an impression of them.
Oh, to me, Gulliver!
Forbury seemed to be sort of
Youthful.
But you think either of them could
Youthful.
have lifted these tops off like you just did?
if it's well, they're just heavy. There's nothing holding them. There's nothing sealing them. Maybe if he slid them, he could have done an angle at a time, a side at a time, a corner at a time.
Could have at least.
Can Hazra hear this conversation?
I presume so.
Yeah, it's because you're right next to me.
No. Hazra will chop and say, but wouldn't they use magic to move the tops? Like Gulliver does sometimes when he makes things move from there to over there. And then he could simply take out the bones.
There's
And
a large number of sarcophagi.
He's
That's
had a
right.
bit of time, hasn't he?
Who's crunching away at something?
That's Medivac and his ginger nuts. I saw you stuff it in your mouth, Medivac.
So what was the answer that I got from Hengist? Yes
So
or no?
Hengist thinks he probably would be able to,
Right. Okay.
but it would be difficult on his own.
Hengist has no skill in anything like
Well,
this.
he might be able to. No, he might be able to judge a person's strength by looking at him as he sort of like sizes up an opponent. And if he's seen both Azoic and Forbury, I thought maybe an insight roll, and he could have sort of.
No, I think
he doesn't look like he's got very much upper body strength.
what Hengist probably knows, as well as Hazra, both from being fighting prowess and fighting warriors, is that it's probably very dangerous to make that judgment straight off. And some people who can see very lithe and weak can actually
deadly killers.
can be absolutely very, very deadly.
Yeah, but more
And the other thing I'll say is,
rather than strength.
well, the other thing I'm going to say is getting it off is one thing, but putting it back on again is a completely different game.
Right. All right. Thanks, Finwells. Right. Let's carry on. Gulliver's going to head back to the original room where the urns were.
Right, yeah. The soul jars. Is the idea that everybody's going round with Gulliver?
I'll follow.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
So
of
I
course.
can just move you. I can just tag
Oh,
you all
crap.
together and move.
Motion sickness.
Yeah.
So he's going to pick up the one that's full and contains a soul,
Yeah.
or what he thinks contains a soul, and he'll say, "Well, this is what we came for. Let's return back to Azoic with it.
I suppose that's what
Then
we should do.
Our quest is complete, and
Just have to be
we'll be able
careful.
to
Just have to be careful of the
return back to
beetles.
the Kraken."
Can Hazra see the fake one? The broken one?
Yeah. It's over in the corner.
No, it's just Gulliver
Yeah.
just
Yep.
put it down.
I'll pick that up as well.
Okay. So is the plan to go right the way back up to the portal room? Therefore.
Back to where we left Azoic. Yeah.
Okay then. So
I think the only difficulty we will have is the area where there's where we left the beetles.
So you sort of like go up, and as you come to the top here where the beetles were, the beetles seem to have dissipated. They're not in. They lack a lot of intelligence, so they're just sort of like roaming around and just reacting to places. And you all sort of like come back into this room, and you sort of like light the torches as you see fit, and carry them between you all, because remember, up here is not lit, and you make your way round, probably the way that you came beforehand, the way Azoic led you away. So almost like at this top half. Can you remember you came down this corridor down here? Yeah.
When we left him, he had gone into sort of like a chamber.
Yeah. So as you walk back round, you go round the way that Azoic led you, and you do notice that you pass the room and he's not there at all. And you sort of like carry on round to the main portal.
All right, Gulliver wants to stop at that room,
then.
and sort of like have a look in.
Yeah.
Is there a desk or anything?
Yeah. So the
he basically wants to have a quick look at the room. I don't know. Is there like a wardrobe with robes hanging up?
So this was
pictures or anything.
It looks more like a study rather than a dressing room.
Right.
You're actually in it now, I think.
Okay. Is there any letters on the desk? Or
no,
anything?
it just seems to be that solid marble table, and there seems to be no. It seems a bit strange that there's no sort of like paraphernalia in there. It seems very devoid of almost like life.
Does it look like it might have been cleared out, or just
no?
something?
It looks like it probably wasn't clear to. It was clear to start off with.
Right. And is there a doorway going off it, or is that goes out into the corridor?
No, there's a doorway down here that goes into some kind of sleeping chamber. You notice in there that there is a cabinet down to the east there that has sort of like robes in them. It doesn't seem to have clothes in them. It has more like a multitude of black robes, about 3 or 4, hanging up or folded into the closet. There is a bed here. It doesn't look like it's been slept in or anything like that. It looks almost like ornamental rather than actually.
Do they? I presume that the Order of the Lich follows the sort of like the same things as the Order of the Kraken. So the sort of like the higher the up you are, the better your robes are, etc. You know, they have more they're more inlaid and stuff like that. The robes that are in here, are they similar to the ones that we saw at Azoic?
Yeah, they are full length hooded black robes, probably made out of some kind of well, not maybe some kind of crushed velvet or something. They look well made. They don't look scrawny or anything like that.
Okay.
Anything else, or are you happy to go back?
No, I'm happy. So yeah, you can carry on now.
Okay then. So you all come round to this entrance hall that you've seen before, and you notice that the first thing that you become very aware of is that the remnants of the golem that was here before is no longer there. It seems to be almost like pushed off the portal, and you sort of like, you notice it as soon as you come in that it's no longer there, and you're not waiting for a huge amount of time before Azoic arrives, and he actually comes from the other side, almost like the way that you came in, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And he appears, and he sort of like turns round to you all, and he sort of like looks at the portal and looks back at you all, and he says, "So, did you get it?"
Gulliver sort of look down at it and say, "This you mean?"
Yeah, he sort of like peers around Hazra so he can see you, and says, well done, my new apprentice. Please, give it to me. Bring it here.
Asher will pull out his. I shouldn't pause then, should I? He'll pull out his and he will say, "Oh, it's this one," and he'll just chuck it towards him.
As in throw it to him?
Yeah, just throw it to him. Here, catch.
Yeah, roll an unarmed combat spell. I just want to see how far where it actually...
Unarmed. Oh,
yeah.
My life. Yeah.
Yeah, you sort of like...
I want to use a point of luck for that, because I've got this whole...
Yeah,
just of throwing it. I'll re-roll.
Please be 99. You sort of like throw it, and it sort of like falls short and hits the floor and smashes once again, and you hear Bartleby sigh, saying, "This is I just made that use." But the interesting thing that you notice, Hazra, is that Azoic doesn't even flinch one little bit when he says, when you say, "Oh, is it this one?" He sort of like looks puzzled and sort of looks, and you sort of like chuck it, and it sort of like smashes on the floor, and he says, "No, Gulliver has mine. Bring it here, Gulliver."
So Azoic goes, just checking.
Azoic, whose was that then that Azra just broke?
"Gulliver, you are my apprentice. Bring me the soul jar."
Can I cast a prayer?
You certainly can. If you're starting to spell cast, then I will be able to notice, depending...
Where's Hengist? Is he behind a pillar?
On the other side of the pillar to you.
All right, that's okay then.
I'm the closest one to Azoic.
Yeah, so, yeah, Hengist and Bartleby and Hazra are sort of like in the front, and then Gulliver, you're just behind Hazra.
I'm here, if you can see
Okay.
my thing.
Actually, that what I was thinking of doing might be taken the wrong way.
Gulliver's going to walk round this way, round the pillar, and as he comes past, he's going to hand the soul jar to Hengist.
Okay then. Sorry, Bartleby, are you casting a spell or not?
I decided against it, so Barley probably just lets out the first syllable of a prayer and then thinks better.
Yeah, and Gulliver, can you roll an evade skill for me, please?
Evade.
Yeah.
80 out of 24.
Yeah, and you sort of like head off, round about. I'm just getting a picture. Well, this one to do. It's not totally correct, but never mind. So you sort of like head off around. I didn't see the direction that you were going.
I was going round this way of the pillar. So
Yes.
I was here. I was going to come round that way.
Yeah,
and then
got you.
It's away from the 6 Birdie sarcophagi carriers.
Yeah. So you sort of like head off round the pillar, and all of a sudden you notice that you sort of like got the jar in your hand, and suddenly you notice that there seems to be black mist and tendrils sort of like emanating from the base of it, and these tendrils seem to be wrapping themselves around it, and you suddenly realize that a spell is being cast on it, and you suddenly try to grab it, and all of a sudden goes poof, and it just disappears from your hand, and out of the darkness down here steps Forbier. And you notice that
down where? Sorry,
the bit that says animated armor.
Can't see that.
You can't see this here.
No?
Sorry, that's just appeared. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. As you suddenly, Gulliver, you probably don't actually get that far. It's probably just as you sort of like pass round there, and you suddenly you just suddenly think, what? Like that, you suddenly think somebody's trying to grab it, and you quickly try to tighten your grip on it, and it just goes poof, like that as the 10 black tendrils go around it, and then it sort of like compresses in on it, and it goes chong, and all of a sudden you're left holding nothing, and out of the shadows at the back steps Forbier.
And you see that the portal's now clear.
Yes, that's what you noticed as soon as you came in, and you sort of like see him holding the soul jar in his hand, and Azoic goes, "No!" like this as he comes, he sees him step from the shadows, as well as holding the soul jar, and we will have some initiatives, if you please.
I thought you were going to say we will leave till next week.
No.
Hengist did well. But
Get to delay your first action.
he didn't want to do well. The one and only time I don't want to do well. I'm going to roll my second highest.
Here we go.
I forgot to put my character, sorry.
First action, draw
Delay.
sword.
It's got to be, yeah. They haven't got it out.
Yeah.
Zoic doesn't have his. Let me just add it manually.
Oh, what a sneeze.
Okay, let me roll some dice here. Ooh. Okay.
Oh, 4. I was thinking, who's 4? Oh, 4. Then I realised it's short for Forbury.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking
So
so.
let me just move people around. I think that's right. Yeah. So combat order starts, and Bartleby, you're the first one.
No. Hadra goes first.
You're not.
Yeah, has to click his
He
token.
didn't click his token.
Yeah, I did get my token.
Oh.
I did say.
He didn't do the one thing he was told to
Yeah,
do.
one
I
thing.
know. I know.
He was too busy watching what Gulliver was doing. Forgot to click.
He's lost it.
Okay then. So Hazra, and just so you know, Hazra, Bartleby, and Hengist. Okay, you are not aware of what's happened behind you.
Nope.
What you are aware of is Azoic sort of like reaching out his hand and saying, "No!" like that, which is sort of like, it even reverberates round the hall, and that sort of like puts you all at
A bit, yeah.
yes. So Hazra, yeah, you go first.
Azra already very suspicious of Azoic. Will
Sorry,
quite
can
happily-
I just say you did
Sorry,
pick your
spear.
you did pick your spear up, didn't you?
I did, yes.
We can go back and listen to
Just hang on, just everybody hold up. I'll be back in a minute. I will plonk my foot forward and my spear will be thrown at Azoic.
Interesting.
He's chucking his hand forward like he's trying to cast a spell.
Yeah.
Like, no!
Chuck your spear. Go for it.
Oh, no, missed.
Why?
Damn.
Why have you missed?
You missed.
Because I'm hard.
No, you're only hard if you're throwing into melee.
No, he's hard.
No, I'm hard because I panicked inside this large building.
Oh,
I thought that was
yes.
in the basement.
Yes. Yep.
Um,
But on the downside, I've also lost a spear.
yeah, so the spear goes... do you wish to look it first?
No. No.
Okay,
No, I
so
don't.
the spear goes flying towards Azoic, and he sort of like almost like sees it coming, and even though he seems to be looking past you, and the spear goes clattering off to one side. Bartleby, what would you like to do? So you've heard Azoic go no, and you've just seen Hazra lob his spear at Azoic.
First question. I'm pretty sure it's a no, but am I within arm reach of any of my nearby allies?
No, you would have you'd have to move. Yeah.
Then that's what I'd do is turn the corner and get within arm reach of Hazra.
Okay, so you're moving down. So you see Bartleby turn around and start heading towards you, Hazra, which will actually almost like be blocking your view of Azoic as well.
I view it as a human shield.
Yeah. Hengist, what would you like to do? So you've seen this spear head to Azoic.
Yeah. So Hengist will draw his sword, but he'll also he's looking around to see what Azoic was pointing at, because he was pointing like threw his arm out and shouted no.
Yeah, so from
And
where
because there's a pillar in the way. So
exactly, yeah. So you sort of like draw your sword. He seems to be pointing into the direction of Hazra and Bartleby, and you are aware that Hazra had just chucked his spear. However, just as it comes to the end of your action, because Amphobia goes next, and he moves into the into the portal, and that's his action. So Gulliver, you're on 13.
Gulliver wants to move as fast as he can with his gippy leg, heading towards Phobia. It's his intention to tackle him.
Okay, then. So
knock him over.
What is your movement with your gippy leg?
I can run at about 12. It's normally 17, but I class it
12 meters for the round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, is that what it's done? Is it done by a?
Yeah. So you sort of like start heading. Do you wish to go down the stairs or not down the stairs?
No, he's going to. He's just going to. He's just going to go as the crow flies.
Okay, then. So you start making your way towards Phobia, and you also notice that Hazra and anybody in the front, you notice that Azoic is casting a spell.
Can I ask a out-of-character question on my understanding of the magic?
Oh! I think a 4 managed is a good evade roll, isn't it? Yeah, okay then. Yes, go for it. Out of character.
How big does something have to be to block the portal spell? I mean, could it be like a dagger on the portal? Does it have to be completely clean, or does it have to be something that breaks the lines of the carving or the rune?
Yeah, it tends to be something that needs to physically break the circle.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was like crates before. There was
Yeah.
a rug, wasn't it?
Yeah,
No,
there was a
that's
wonderful
before.
rug in Count Bastion's.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
That was a good one. Okay then, we're coming back to the top of the round. Hasra, what do you wish to do? You've lobbed your spear. If you would...
I would like to draw my scimitar
Yeah.
while glancing around.
Okay then, yeah. So you slide your scimitar out of the scabbard and you are able to see everything around you, what's happening. You're also aware that Gulliver is moving as well. Bartleby, you're on 17.
I would like to grab Hazra and do a prayer of protection, since I know that he's
Nice. Yeah.
afraid of wizard magic. Amriel will protect you.
Yeah, that's nice. That will actually go off. So Hazra, remember you've got protection on you, which will give 1d3 worth of damage, I think, or on a certain
Praise
location.
Amriel.
Yeah.
That's my turn.
Yeah, fantastic. And yeah, so that brings us down to Hengist.
Hengist wants to be running towards Forbury. He can move 15
In
so
a
I
round.
don't- in a round,
Not in
yeah.
a turn,
No,
in a round.
In a
And
round.
remember,
So-
we're already one bit through that round at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. But he wants to be running towards Forbury. I don't know how
okay
far
then.
he'll make it, but that's
Okay, so
and he
you
can
sort of
run
like
15.
Do you advise you run by 3 or 2, whatever your action points are?
So you start to sort of like head across towards Forbier in there, and okay, Forbier is moving towards the portal as well. Gulliver, you are moving towards the portal as well, and Azoic seems to be on his second turn. He finishes casting a spell, and you, Gulliver, as you go towards the Thorbury, you see those black tendrils appearing round the canopic jar, the soul jar, as well, after 2 turns of casting. But Thorbury sees it and evades with it and moves it out the way, and the black thing sort of like grabs at nothing, and he lets out what appears to be like a hideous laugh, almost like a guffaw. So turn 3 now for anybody who's still got actions left. Hazard, do you have any actions left?
I do. Now, I see Gulliver run towards me and try to run past me.
He's coming behind you at the moment. Yeah.
And Hengist is running in front of me as well.
It looks like everybody's heading towards the
Towards
portal.
Forbury. Yeah. So with that, he is going to try to run to Forbury.
I thought he was going to throw his scimitar for a second.
I was almost going to do that, but I didn't want to skill out to come under. Angus, that was so tempting, I tell you. So yeah, he wants to try to move.
Okay,
Have a look,
so so just so I got this right, so Bartleby, do you have any more actions this round?
No, Bartleby is just going to be like being spun in his place, I guess.
Okay then. So just so I'm clear, Phobia was running to the portal. Gulliver, you're running to the portal. Hazra, you're running to the portal. Hengist,
Yep.
you're running to it.
Yeah.
Now there is a gap to get off the thing.
Sorry.
So you'll just need to, all three of you will need to roll an athletics roll just to negotiate that successfully.
Oh.
51 on the 6.
Oh, I clicked it twice. Sorry.
Yeah, we could take your second one. That's not.
That's fine.
Boom!
Got the mic.
So Hazra,
That's a skill point.
you quite nimbly jump down.
Trip up Gulliver.
Hengist, you jump down. Gulliver, you try to jump down, but actually don't and trip. Probably because of your gammy leg. You don't take any damage unless you want to use a point of luck.
No.
Okay, you sort of like misjudge it, and you fall off and sort of like land on the floor. You haven't injured anything, but you're literally prone at the moment. So you need
when did that happen then? Was that?
It's just coming to the end of this round.
So I've been moving for two turns now.
Yeah. And
Right.
so at that
So you
point,
jumped off one level, and then jumped off the other level.
yeah, and then as you three are moving towards the portal with where Forbria is stood, you hear Azoic shout on a free action, and he just shouts out at you, and he just shouts one word at you. He just points to you all and shouts out, "Traitors!" like this, as you all, apart from Bartleby just goes, "Yeah, traitors, as it seems that you're all running towards Forbia on the actual portal. So this now goes into round 2. So when we start round 2, everybody, like you three, are all at Forbia. So I'm just moving you so you're all on the portal like that. So all of you are now congregating on Forbia in the middle. Bartleby, you're still by yourself off to one side, and Azoic sort of like shouts his traitor thing. And Hazra, you are first. Your scimitar is out.
So I'm in combat range.
Yes.
Oh my god, in which case I will take a swing at this nasty black-robed
Cool.
person. And that's a nice hit.
Yeah, he will try
No,
to
768.
physically evade it, which he does on an 8. So he actually evades. He's getting some good evade rolls tonight. So you try to swing. He gets out the way, or ducks out the way. He's now prone on the floor. He has to roll an athletics roll now, just so you know. Oh!
Shut the front door.
Boom! And he sort of like drops to the floor, and you see
Waves.
the soldier wobble a bit, but he just manages to grab it. He is now prone on the floor, and that was one of his actions. Sorry, I'm just getting my other action points up. I've got a card here that says prone. Yeah, so that's on 18. Bartleby, you're on 17.
Bartleby will move carefully. The goal is to go down out to here. I don't think I can make it all the way to the circle, but I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to get down the stairs. But I want to keep an eye on Azoic and kind of my hands where he can see him. So I'm not as I'm not a threat.
Okay, so you'll probably take you the majority of the turn round to get down there. So Hengist, you're on 16. What would you like to do?
Hengist is going to swing his sword. He's going to attack Forbria on the floor.
Okay, so he's actually on the floor. He's not. I think I'm just checking. I think it just makes it easy for you. Let me just check. He's not helpless on the floor, which would have been automatic, but he is fighting while prone. So yeah, so it's going to be it doesn't have an impact on you, it has an impact on me. So if I want to try to dodge out the way, then my rolls will now be hard because I'm on the floor. So yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Swing that sword. Ooh.
Can
I just say it's 25 too. You might still need it.
No, he's using his luck point to reverse that to a 9.
Okay then, that's will
it gone for the night.
Yeah, that won't be a crit, won't it? No.
No.
So you roll that. Phobia, I use another action point to try to roll out the way of it, but actually fails. So you get you will get a special hit location and damage, please.
Hengist wants to try and use compel surrender.
He's not helpless.
He's not helpless. Okay. In that case, Hengist will do choose location, chest.
Okay.
Hoping for disarm opponent, and you just knock the urn out of his hand.
Yeah, but I was thinking.
Yeah, come on.
But I was thinking of that. But if I dodge out the hand, it's going to smash on the floor. So it's going to do. Yeah. So it's choose location, chest. Hang on, I've lost my roll 20. And then I want hit location. Oh no, I've done hit location. So it's just damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because he was using it two-handed. For 6.
6. Just 1 second. Yeah, so his protection spell takes off the first 3. And so he does you do 3 points of damage to his chest. It would have been a really good hit there, but you notice that the protection something stops it. It's almost like tree color that you ultimately punch through, but he does take a damage and he's tried to evade. So I need to roll his athletics twice now. So this is his evade roll. Which that fails, and that one, oh no, sorry, the first one fails. So as he sort of like ducks out the way and you sort of like whack him with his sword, the jar just flies off in one direction, and you hear it hit the marble floor, the granite that is, and you Gulliver and you and Bartleby, you see it. It sort of like comes down in this direction, and it hits. And no sooner has it hit the thing, it just smashes, and you hear just Azoic shout out, "No!" like that as the spell is broken, and multitudes of years start to go back onto Azoic himself. Phobia at this point will get up because he's prone. He'll get up on his action. Gulliver
wants to tackle him.
Oh, just at that point, he does have a free action, and as he stands up, he shouts out, is it Daniela? Danielle? Your mentor's name?
Daniela Duncan.
Yeah, he shouts out, "Now, Daniela!" like this, and sort of like shouts it out. And yeah, Gulliver, you're up, sorry.
Gulliver wants to tackle him. Okay
then. So you want to, I presume you want to grapple, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's an unarmed. You're not doing a leaping attack, although that would be really good to do. I think off the top of my head, it's an unarmed combat roll, and unarmed sweeping attack, parrying, Grappling. Here we go. Grappling attacks are resolved using an opposed roll of the attacker's unarmed combat skill. If the attacker wins, then they establish a grapple, but if the defender wins, the grapple fails. As with evade, if one of the opponents achieves 2 or more levels of success, they still get a special attack. So yeah, roll your unarmed.
What if the defender has no action points left?
Yeah, it's interesting that it doesn't actually say that. It doesn't say whether or not it does.
It's like he's done all his moves, he's fallen on the floor, he's got up, and then somebody whacks him on the side.
I'm not too sure whether or not it's classed as an opposed roll, as in, for example, if somebody casts a spell at me, I don't need a roll for willpower.
Okay, let me just roll it, because chances are I'm going to miss anyway. So
okay, then, so let's...
Critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just
run past it.
I think it's a good point, Hazra, and I think what we'll say from this point onwards is that you do need some opposed. If you're opposing it, you do need an action. Okay, so that's Gulliver. Azoic on 10 starts to spellcast, and we're coming up to turn 2. And Hazra, you're up.
You're muted, Hazra.
I am muted, and I will take a swing at Francesca. What's his name? Fauvier.
Okay.
With that. Oh gosh, yes.
Nice. Now, just to remember, do remind me. I can't actually oppose you because I've got no action points left. But do remind me that it would be -1 on my to dodge out the way, etc.
Yeah.
Because you're over 100 now. So I need special hit location damage.
Special will be. I want to. Oh gosh, what's it
Does the
called?
-1 get taken into account even though he's hard for them as well? Is it your best one that always goes or not?
Yeah, so it'd be a 41 out of 68, basically, against him.
It's a 40 out of 68. That's the hard. But you will always take off. It doesn't matter if anybody's skill is above 100.
It always goes on
it automatically, because it demonstrates that he's a much better swordsperson.
Yep, I want to press advantage.
Yep.
Your location will be a 19, which is your head.
Head, thank you.
And your damage will be scimitar.
Oh, nice. So
Luck point.
you notice that he doesn't have his protection has gone, and you slice across, and it just sort of like catches.
Put a line across his cheek.
And one side, and he sort of like tried to back away from it, and just sort of like spill the blood. Bartleby, you're moving round to this position. Hengist, you're up on 60.
So Hengist will use his second action point so he's going to attack. Oh no, is he going to attack? Yeah, he's going to attack.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, wrong button.
I need a hit roll first.
Oh no, wrong one. Sorry. There you go. That's unlucky.
Hey!
Yeah. Okay, so you'll have.
I'm using it
For
two-handed,
all
so.
your skills or something.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah.
one. I don't know that one.
So I can't actually defend against it. So you need 2 special hit location damage.
Okay. So the first special will be. He's already had thingy. So it will be max damage. And then he will do.
Why don't you just say it, Medivac?
I'm ignoring Medivac.
Ignore me.
It's going to be. He's going to be leg. He wants to try and mobilise the chap.
Okay, cool.
Left leg.
Yeah, I need to know your
So choose
maximum
location, left leg.
damage.
Max damage, including damage modifier, is 12.
12. Okay, so that actually goes through his leg altogether. It just sort of like literally almost like slices it off. That gives him an immediate major wound. He needs to roll his...
It's a flesh wound.
What was your so
No,
you
that's
sort of like you virtually sort of like nearly sever his total leg, and he literally screams as blood sort of like shoots in all directions, and he actually sort of like collapses down onto the floor unconscious. Forbia can't react because he is out for the count. Gulliver, you're up.
Gulliver will probably try to launch. He won't know that he's dead. Gulliver will try to launch himself onto him. He'll try to do another grapple.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so you can see now that he's missing a leg. Virtually, so things are not going well for him at all. He doesn't look healthy, and you can see that there's quite a bit of blood. There's several arteries cut and pulsing out. Azoic just looks. He sort of like shouts out, and you sort of like take a look over in his direction, Bartleby, and the poor guy looks like he's aged not even decades, almost like centuries, as if a whole load of life has been stored up and it almost like hit him straight away, and he's very withered and bent, and it looks like the skin's sort of like just hanging on to his feeble frame. Let's drop out of combat rounds, and what would people like to do?
Hazard would like to pull Thorbury off the circle.
Yeah, okay then. So you're pulling him towards...
Whichever the closest edge
probably
of the...
towards him, yeah. Okay, then Hengist, what's going to be your action?
Hengist will probably help Hazard to pull Thorbury off. He wants to get off the teleport circuit anyway.
So both of you will have to sheathe your weapons in order to do that. Gulliver, what's going to be your action?
Gulliver just sort of like look at it, a bit dumbfounded with this guy getting pulled off with his leg half hanging off.
Okay then, and so you just stand watching them pull Forbia off the circle. And Bartleby, what's going to be your...
I would like to... My main goal is, if he's still alive, I'm going to try and stabilize him to cover our backs and whatnot with the heal wound miracle. If he's dead, then lay to rest.
Okay, so Hengist and Hazra, just give me brawn rolls, just as normal, to sort of like pull him off.
Oh no, I made mine, didn't I?
Yeah, you made them. Yeah. So you sort of like pull them off, but the first thing that you notice is that this leg sort of like goes to one side, and you're not smearing the floor with blood. It's literally pulsing out of his leg. And you can see by the time they get him over to here, and Bartleby, you get there, he is very close. If not, I mean, you can actually see the blood pumping out of the artery in his leg.
You can actually see the giant red on his body.
The femoral artery has been sliced open. So, I mean, he's losing blood at a terrific rate at the moment. So, so what spell would you like to cast?
This would be... Sorry, the miracle that I'd like to cast.
Yeah.
But if it seems like it wouldn't do anything, or if I'm too late, perhaps, then I probably wouldn't do it. But
well, it's up to you. Do you
I'm
want
gonna go for it. Gotta
Okay.
save this person if they deserve it.
Okay then. And yeah,
Barely.
and unfortunately, you sort of like bear down, and you notice that the this guy Phobia is seriously damaged, and you sort of like cast the prayer, and Amriel's magic comes over Phobia, but the only thing that it does is actually stabilizes his wound, and it looks like he was very close to death, but it doesn't look like that leg is going to survive at all. Azoic sort of like points to you all, and he's sort of like in a husky, rasping voice, he says, "I trusted you all, and you desert me."
To be fair, Zoic, we did not know that Phobia was behind us. Why didn't you see him? You were looking at us. You should have seen him and warned us.
And Azoic goes, "Silence! I am bored of you. I am fed up of your incompetence. You have lost. You have allowed my soul to depart."
It does not depart. It is now back inside your body, which is where it should be.
He turns around and says, "I have no more time for you. Be gone."
Gulliver, what should we do?
And he sort of like, as you also like stand there in silence, looking at each other, he sort of like rather what normally would have been a whirl round with his robe flourishing, turns out to be almost like a stunted, stuttery pirouette as he turns and walks in a very hobbly, bent way. You can hear his breath rasping in his chest as he sort of like makes his way towards these stairs, and something that took him hardly any time at all to come down the stairs, and you saw him very sprightly beforehand. It looks like he's now hundreds of years old, and he staggers. You can hear him wheezing, and almost like he steps up each step. He doesn't go up, up, up. He goes da-da, da-da, up every step. It seems to take him a lifetime to actually get up to the top.
Gulliver wants to walk over to the pedestal where he last saw his brooch that had the Kraken symbol on, see whether or not it's still up there.
Yeah, it's still there. It's a bit bent, a bit broken, as if it looks like somebody tried to break it. It's not actually in the best condition at all, but it's still there.
He'll pick it up and he'll attach it back onto his onto his tunic. And then, what were the arrangements to get off this place?
Azoic gets to the doorway, and he turns to you, Gulliver, and he says, "You need to accompany me." And he pauses for a while, and he turns away, and you just hear him say, "Boy."
Gulliver's going to ignore him, and he's going to walk back towards the others. What was the arrangements to get off?
And Azoic pauses for a while, and then you're not too sure. You're not too sure what you hear. It's almost like a snigger, or almost like a laugh, and you're not too sure what it is, but it's almost like a coughing snigger. And then you just hear Azoic just before he sort of like leaves the room call back to Gulliver and says, "Remember, this choice was yours, and you will come to regret it." And he shuffles his way out into the darkness. And while you're
he wanted to throw him out to go get my spear back.
Yeah, and shortly after, while Gulliver, you've got your pendant back, and Hazra, you've got your spear back. You notice that the portal, the lines suddenly start to glow blue, as the magic from the other side sort of like permeates into it. And then you notice that the portal becomes live, meaning that it's ready to be for you to step in and be transported. As always, you're not too sure where to, but it seems that the portal is not broken in any way, so you would assume back to whoever's opening it at the other end.
Gulliver help up Forbury if he can. I don't know, maybe get an arm underneath him or whatever.
Roll a brawn roll for me.
And then step onto the portal if he can. Yes, got it.
It will be hard.
Oh, right.
You sort of like you bend down and try to sort of like lift, cradle his arm around your neck. And sort of like Bartleby, you'll probably sort of like bend down and help him. And as you go up, his legs sort of like wobbles a bit like that. And as you sort of like half move him, half drag him onto the portal, you see his leg just like slide across the floor. And as you all get onto the portal flares with blue magic, flares with the water magic of the Order of the Blue Order, the Order of the Kraken. And when you feel that sinking, almost like ripping your stomach out as you travel through the magic to back, and you appear back in the portal chamber of the Order of the Blue Order in Lindo, and you suddenly notice that it's Daniela who's opened the portal. And
the first thing here is Hazra appears with no,
and Daniela says, "Phobia," like that, and rushes to his aid and sort of like starts to summon order. Starts to shout orders, and people sort of like come and sort of like whisk him away. And Daniela sort of like turns to you all and says, "We are busy. Come back tomorrow for your payment and your debriefing. Go now." And she sort of like hurries off. And as you all sort of like stand in the portal room, as all this commotion is going on, as Forbier is whisked away, you suddenly find yourself almost like alone in the portal room, and far off across the seas you picture in like a cut scene at the end of a film. The camera flies over to the Dark Tower, and as it sort of like circles round and pans round, the lightning strikes in random directions, and a huge booming thunder echoes around, and tied up with it, combined with it, intertwined with the thunder, you just hear this hideous guttural laugh. And that is where we will end the adventure of the Dark Tower. Well done, everyone. Well done. Yeah, interesting ending. Like it a lot. Well done. Some good actions then at the end. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Both the players and the people who are listening. Thank you very much for joining us. Just to let you know that next week be the 6th of, which is the 6th of June. We won't be streaming. We'll be finishing our last play session with Lawrence Whitaker, the game designer of Mythras, and we'll be doing hopefully the final version of the Leoness adventure that we've done. So it'd be time for me to oil up my muscly body once more and become Sir Ford the Mighty, bald-headed, full of muscle, who has a passion to instantly fall in love.
I was streaming it.
No, Lawrence won't stream it. That's why, but we can record it and then I can publish it straight away.
Brilliant.
So that'll be it. So we will be back in a couple of weeks' time when we can start fitting together the ramifications, the turmoil of the Dark Tower. Plus, everybody will actually get some experience rolls that they'll be able to share. Thank you, Marky Mark, for coming out. We'll have fun next week. Thank you for the wow, awesome. Thank you, Darth, great adventure, excellent. Garish, love your faces, but really need to stream. Thank you for brightening our day, which is absolutely fantastic. And Justin says, thanks for streaming, everyone. So yeah, thank you, and thank you for the players tonight. Very interesting. And just to say, I never script the end, so it's never, it's really and utterly down to dice rolls at the end of it, which has been very interesting today. So that's been brilliant. Does anybody have any announcements before we finish the stream?
No, thank you.
No, none from me.
Brilliant. So do check out the rest of the streamers. Remember, a lot of them stream. Chuggerwugger does. Medivac does, although his Twitch is Medivac the Healing Hoover. 54967215487. So something short and catchy, I'm sure.
It's there.
I must admit, when you're playing Steam Raiders, your font is tiny because you have such a big name.
I know.
So I will be back tomorrow at 2:00 BST time when we will be continuing our adventures in ESO Greymore. I've got some discount codes for the game as well, so do come along and enjoy those and enter the giveaways for that. And then tomorrow evening, of course, I will be donning my healing hat and playing some Overwatch as a support expert. So plenty more streaming to come from me for the rest of the weekend. So stay safe, stay 2 meters apart, and please obey your own regional lockdown criteria. Apart from that, we will see you all next time. And until then, please remember to be who you are and say what you think, because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun, everyone, and we will catch you all later. And until then, happy role-playing. See you all later, people. Bye!
Bye! Bye! Stay away from the dark!
This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.